New this hour, a majority of Americans showing support for legislation passed this week in the House and Senate that funds the Iraq war, but also calls for a deadline to pull out U.S. troops. That is according to a new poll just released by Newsweek. So let's get the details now on the poll from Mark Miller, Assistant Managing Editor with Newsweek. Good morning to you, Mark.
Good morning.
I want to look at the numbers. We have 57% of those polled supporting the legislation that was passed, calling for a March 2008 pullout. You have 36% opposing it. President Bush has vowed to veto this bill. So what do these numbers mean for him?
Well, I think it's a continuation of what we saw beginning in the November elections, which is a pretty clear and decisive view of the public that they want to change course significantly in Iraq.
And another poll asking Americans' opinions of how President Bush is handling the war in Iraq, 65% disapproving, only 28% approving.
Right.
What do you do with these numbers?
Well, that's also consistent with the numbers that we've seen in previous polls in which we asked this question. And that poll number is actually lower even than his overall approval rating, which is about 33%.
Yeah, I want to look at that number further. 33% approving of the way President Bush is doing his job, which means a majority 60% disapproving.
60%, right.
What does that mean for the president and his looking forward?
Well, it's not good news, obviously. And again, it's fairly consistent, and it doesn't seem to change even with news about the surge and a discussion about whether or not the surge is working. I think at the end of the day, these numbers simply indicate something fairly fundamental, which is that the public doesn't support his policy. But that's a very difficult position for him to be in because, as you say, he's already vowed to veto that legislation. He feels very strongly about his executive authority as commander-in-chief, and he's going to continue to pursue the policy that he wants.